Hello and welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. I love your antenna. Yes, you spring forward. We have beloveds with antennas and fur coats. Faux fur, probably. No, it's real. Okay, it's real fur. Bo. Raccoon. Oh, hey. I love it. What a moment. What a moment. From a thrift store, yes. That's the way to do it. Pass down. Such a joy to be here. So much fun to acknowledge, right? That we're here and whatever here means. Yeah. Okay. So much fun to take a moment to explore, to investigate, to notice, to reevaluate, to reconsider, to feel into, to get curious about, to discover and to discover and to discover, and to notice and to notice and to notice, and to allow and to allow and to allow. Satsang. So for those who have never been to Satsang before, have you ever been to a Satsang before? Fun. So it's so sweet. It's like, we have all these activities and all these events that are so perfect and fit right in to the flavor of the collective consciousness, we can say, of our species and our planet, that just fit right in to the tone of what this moment appears to be exploring as in through us. And usually these activities, these events have an invitation to elaborate, to reify, to reinforce this sense of a separate self, or this sense of time, or this sense of cause and effect, or this sense of all the shit I gotta do before I can rest and shit. All the shit I gotta, all the stuff I gotta do. I'll say stuff. You like stuff better over there, antenna? Alrighty, beloved. All the stuff I gotta do before I can totally just allow myself to be as I am. Allow the whole universe to be as it is. And it's really sweet. In satsang, the invitation is to notice that, not make anything wrong about that, not call it the new devil, not say it's bad or should change or needs to disappear or needs to be eradicated or needs to be sent to the prison or to the dungeon or to the concentration camp or to this place or that place. But to just notice also what's present, even if that's still doing its wonderful thing, even as body is doing its thing, even as emotions are doing its thing, even as the apparent world is doing its thing. What else is here? Is there a bottomless peace that maybe by paying attention to the story of peace, or how peace can finally come, or where it comes from, or what I have to do to my vibration in order for it to get here, that maybe gets overlooked by innocently engaging in the dance of light and shadow. All uninvestigated assumption, the wondrous dynamic energy of descriptive frameworks. And to notice what allows all to have a beginning, a middle, and an end? What is here that allows everything from the micro to the macro to have a beginning, a middle, and an end? Is there something about us that has never been bound to the dream of time? Is there something about us that has never been bound to the dream of cause and effect? Cause and effect, whether it pertains to worldly matters or spiritual matters. Is there something about us that is free, regardless of circumstance, that is at rest, regardless of flutterings in the green screen of awareness? Noticing what's present. Noticing what is always effortlessly, naturally welcomed, all to be as it is. Even the momentary unwelcome of assumption and thought and judgment. Innocent, innocent, innocent. So innocence is one of my favorite words. You may hear me say innocent a lot. Some beloveds are like, what you mean? What you say innocent? So much. But when we notice from mind's perspective, mind isn't innocent. Mind naturally got beef with mind. That's just how it's built. Nothing wrong with it. Mind has a problem with mind. Mind has ideas about what mind should be like. Oh, you should be quieter. No, you should be like this. More intellectual, more creative. Oh, you got a lot of shit to deal with. You got a lot of stuff to deal with. From your ancestors, from your mama, from your daddy, from the world, from religion. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what happens when that is what we're emphasizing, or when that is who we imagine ourselves to be, we innocently overlook the fundamental well-being of our nature. That is not limited to the realm of loss and gain, or comings and goings, or enlightenment or ignorance. Enlightenment or ignorance. But that's naturally here, just as we are. It's super exciting to me that human beings more and more obviously are discovering what's also natural about us. It's not just our nose and our lips and the fact that we breathe, and it's a good thing to stay hydrated, but that we're also infinitely vast, aware intelligence. An aware intelligence that is not limited to spiritual ideas of aware intelligence. Spiritual ideas may include the wonder of mind appearing as vibration and frequency and good thoughts, bad thoughts, positive thinking, negative thinking, Merkabas, chakras, wondrous, delightful appearances, delightful, have their place. Everything has its place. Everything serves, everything necessary until the moment it's not. And that's what's so sweet about discovering the liberation of liberation, of liberation, of liberation. Liberace was even liberation himself. Liberation, the freedom of what is. What I love about it, the practical reasons why I totally love this stuff, is how useful it is in terms of the practical applications for our everyday human lives. You know, sometimes we can be so caught up in our ideas about what needs to happen, or what needs to get fixed, or what needs to get altered or changed, or what needs to get healed, if this can only get healed. I meet with beloveds who have been on a path, let's say a conscious path, for so many years. So many years. And they so sweetly and innocently and honestly make statements like, I already dealt with that. I thought I already released that. I thought this experience released that. Oh, I thought the 17th time I did ayahuasca, that was dissolved. Oh, I thought when I did iboga, it was like boom. Oh, I thought when I, made out with Lakshmi and the 17th dimension during that out of body experience, that was it. My karma was singed and burnt up. And why in the world is stuff coming back? Why are these thoughts coming back? Why is this energy still? What's up with this longing? What's up with this fear? What's up with this anxiety? What's up with this this anger? What's up with this? And so it's so innocent that, we may have profound moments of insight, profound awakenings where it's like we have this sense of all is one. And there's an immeasurably precious perfection to the suchness of all existence and the freedom that is. And then, of course, body will have sensations, mind will feel liberated, and we innocently attribute that freedom to a feeling and to a sensation, a particular feeling, a particular sensation, a particular octave of colors. And innocently, when we do that, when that appears new, so a good clue, I love it, so fun. A good clue that something is going to go is if it appears to be new. New spirituality, new insight, new awakening, new third eye blasted open, new decalcified third eye, new realization. Perfectly so, that it's going to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's a beloved, one of my favorite teachers by the name of Papaji, who would tell beloveds that would come to him and say, I got enlightened. He'd say, that's great. And then they would say, I lost it. And he would say, even better. Lose that stuff. Let it fall away. To notice what is more simple than that. To notice that which isn't bound to a storyline of you going somewhere, that isn't bound to a storyline of time or cause and effect or a someone. Anything that can be gained can be lost. And this invitation, in the context of us coming together, and what this what am I? This beloved is at the feet of, is completely devoted to the simplicity of our nature, of being, that allows for everything to be as it is. My experience with mind is, it's so welcome to be itself. With emotions so welcome to be themselves. This doesn't mean that we walk around in a state of, it kind of means that, but But there's such freedom to let all the emotions be themselves. It's so sweet when we discover the self-releasing nature of mind, the self-releasing nature of sensations, the self-releasing nature of emotions. Sorry, love? Did you say something? No. Oh. Oh, okay. Yes, let's do it. The self-releasing nature of what I was going to say.
Self-releasing nature. I love you so much, and sometimes when I don't come, and then I come back, and I can't believe I ever missed a single moment to be in the beloved presence of my belovedness and your belovedness and all the
Hello,
belovedness.
belovedness.
Hi.
Hi.
I love you, and
I love you too.
I just wanted to clarify something around this allowing mind to be mind and emotion to be emotion. I mean, would you just make a would you distinguish between letting it be itself and engaging with it?
Letting it be itself and engaging with it.
Yeah.
Well, this is what's so interesting. You know, usually when we are attempting to change mind, we're engaging in it. And and in that innocence, we're more prone to be informed by mind with our actions and our speech. And, you know, it's like we live in strategy and protection and defense, indulging, avoiding, replacing, innocent, in allowing mind to be as it is. It opens up, let's say, what's already open, you know, and there's the wisdom available.
So you're not one with mind and one with emotion, but it's an aspect of what's arising. But awareness is beyond it somehow, and so it's not.
It can be useful to perceive it that way as one gets familiar, more and more familiar with awareness. Very useful to perceive it that way as kind of like something separate. You know, the wonderful analogy of sky and weather, and the sky always present and the weather.
Yeah. I mean, like right now listening to you, I'm feeling like I'm observing like a big cloud formation in my mind passing, but that I've been in that cloud formation like a dream that I've been in, and now I'm like, oh yeah. And so I'm suddenly, there's part of my mind that's looking back and contemplating the moments before I arrived here.
Powerful.
And seeing it like I've been kind of wrapped up in a dream state.
Powerful. So I'd love to question that thought.
Sure, yeah.
So you've been caught up in a dream state. Is it true?
I mean, I don't know what's been going on.
Right. Well, this is what's so interesting because, you know, has anyone ever experienced the sense of being caught up in the activity of mind, in mind weather? And it feels like we're totally caught up in it. And we even have an awareness that there's other options out there. But right now, I'm in the maze of this mind stuff. And I'm in the I'm in the maze of this. And then there's this sense of, oh, I'm not in the mind stuff. And
It's kind of like I don't know what was going on. Like I don't know who was directing the show. A show was going on.
Right, a show was going on.
Was there.
So much content.
And I've been getting very involved in all the things I get involved with.
Right.
It's fun for me.
Right.
But suddenly, right now, it seems as though, at least when you talk about putting the emphasis.
The emphasis, yeah.
The emphasis was not that it wasn't there, but that and that's my philosophical mind saying it must have been there, but my emphasis of my conscious attention was not perceiving infinite space holding all of this happening.
Wonderfully put. And what I would like to ask you is, what about that flavor and this flavor is the same?
Right. I mean, it's like the difference, the same is like that what now in that flavor, they share a kernel. Except right now that the kernel of emptiness feels like I've zoomed into that. It's like it feels There's still that essence, as if
Right.
emptiness was at the core of an atom, but
Right.
now I'm in the activity.
Right.
And then when I'm around you, I feel like I'm in the emptiness watching the activity. Or like I
Right.
don't mean to make, but
Right.
it's almost like a
Right. So notice for a moment what's aware of the two. What's aware of the two?
I don't know how to put it.
Awesome. Yeah, no need to know how to put it. So good. But just to pause for a moment and, because it's like we have the caught up in mind points of view and the not caught up in mind points of view. And they're both beautiful points of view, or they're both just points of view appearing in this. So, just as that point of view has a beginning, a middle, and an end, also the point of view of being closer to the emptiness of the kernel or emphasizing the emptiness also has a beginning, middle, and end. This, right. This, yeah.
Which is never gone.
Right. So all inclusive, so willing for every point of view to have a full life, and in that have an honorable undoing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a difference between you and me, right?
Well, and we could only say the only difference is I've had, I've really had an interest, and I don't know if this is different, but in my experience, so interested in how the mind works, so curious how, looking at beloveds that I loved so dearly just constantly run themselves into walls over and over and over again. And with all the best intentions and all the religions and all the spirituality and and just an interest in, I wonder if there's another way. I'm curious if there's another way. So,
So as long as I want to watch Better Call Saul all night and ignore my mind, I might end up running into walls in a different way than you do. But
well,
my interest is on Better Call Saul.
on Better Call Saul. I don't know what Better Call
It's
Saul
a
is.
TV show.
Is it a fun
I'm
TV
just
show?
making a joke.
Okay, nice. Yay. What up, those that like Better Call Saul?
Hello, what up, fam?
Holla. So essentially, no difference. Full on awareness. There's no separation in awareness, and we also share the same mind. There's no separate minds out here. I love how Byron Katie says there's no such thing as a new stressful thought. When you start noticing, it's so true. That's why, I love that I get to know you as your name and all the wonderful energies of your soul print and the individuation of your existence and your preferences and your flavors, and it's so beautiful. I love all of that. Yay, it's like sprinkles, sprinkles, sprinkles. And none of that could ever tell me or serve as evidence that we are separate. No separation here whatsoever. Absolutely inseparable. No skin line that's really here. Seeming so, yes. Seeming depth perception, yes. Full on aware intelligence. Dynamic energy, celebrating that aware intelligence as the wonder of phenomena, mind, perception. Inextinguishable flame of being, phenomena, its warmth. Inextinguishable flame of being, phenomena, its glow. No separation in the context of me and you. Da, 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 da. What I love about this is that we can learn. There's an education and skillful means is how mind works.
Yeah, that's the difference too. It's like your speech doesn't. Your speech is different than my speech. Your speech is more educated in the language of thisness or something. Because my speech just it has so many habits that just dualize Do you know what I mean?
Well, good news is all speech is going to have that limitation of dualizing. So, I do my best, but I am so willing to fail over and over and over and over again. Thank you. I received that fully. And I'm so aware fail to actually speak to, but I am so willing. But yes, it's really cool that now we can recognize that this is already here, So it's like who you are, full on stability of being, full on power of love, right where you sit, just as you are, just as your conditioning is, just as your mind is, just as the constellation of the atomic suns of your existence are, full on, just like this. This is it. This is this moment here as itself. This is infinity here as itself. Beingness here with itself. The universe here with itself. And how exciting that we can explore, if there's any interest, explore how mind works. In other words, suffering and pain and depression and doesn't have to be so mysterious, right? So in my experience, it's so clear to me, if there's a sense of something, it's so clear that, oh yeah, that's mind being itself. And it's so and I invite it. So it's not like I'm constantly like going, oh, let's clean this up right away. I'm just like, oh yeah, welcome. Maybe I'm gonna be in a sense of brokenheartedness for a couple of days, and that's okay. That's so okay. It's like in our recognition that we're not these flesh nuggets fully, that we're also infinite vast presence. There's such permission for the flesh nuggets to be themselves, for the emotions to be themselves, for mind to be themselves. And it's unfolding from an uninterrupted space of peace. So even if there is a brokenheartedness, it's the fragrance of peace still. Peace doesn't move. The joy doesn't move, and it doesn't have to look like any idea of joy. Joy, 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 joy. Doesn't it look like any kind of joy? Just be as it is. Yeah. Yes, Claudia. Could you hold the mic, please?
Would you please say how what you understand exactly when I get fully the let the mind be as it is.
Okay.
Let the feeling, the emotions be as they are. It's more difficult because like if I'm annoyed, to be as it is, does that mean to express it or to not do anything with it? I don't know.
Okay, so good, so good, so good, so good. So yes, so it's kind of like an allowing whatever's appearing to be as it is. It gives us initially a buffer, and it gives us space, and it slows everything down, and then we notice it's like the spontaneous intelligence of our being, spontaneous open intelligence, spontaneous intelligence that's not bound to the past, that's not bound to how we've done things before, or that's not motivated by defense, self preservation, survival strategies. That intelligence is so much more available in allowing whatever is here to be as it is. And we notice we don't have to move, and all of a sudden our hands reach for something. All of a sudden words come through our being. All of a sudden we're arting the situation or inspired to paint something based on whatever the moment is, or we're laughing our booties off at the moment, and even laughing at the innocence of the annoyance, the innocence of of the thoughts present, or we're completely delighted being annoyed. Like, like an infinite universe, totally annoyed right now. Hey, get it? Get it annoyed? In other words, it takes on a different luster. Mine's version of annoyance, oh, Lord have mercy. We know the stink of that. And that's okay, innocent, but in the openness, it's like when we allow it's like the camera lens that was super focused and all the lines were crisp and clear, or the delineation of things, the separation. And then when we open that camera lens and soften the focus, it's just, and then it's like, that scene in The Matrix with, what was his name? Neo, going like this with the bullets. And if he was a Latin mage, he'd be like, so it allows us so much more options. Does that serve?
Yeah, for all the good emotions, for sure. For the ones, as a choleric, I'm not a choleric, so I can really get annoyed,
Yeah.
and then it goes fast. So you're saying, or when that emotion lands, to just do that thing with the camera, focus out, and see what happens.
Explore that.
To act on that energy, or if it dissipates. Is that, do I understand?
Yes, that's another way of putting it, right? As soon as the emotion arises, it's like, oh, okay, high emotion. Let me hear y'all say hi emotion. Say hi mind. Hi mind. Hi body. High emotion. So it's like we start noticing, oh yeah, high emotions here. And we don't have to tell the beloved that's right in front of us or the world, oh, everybody, there's an emotion here. But just in our own experience, which that would be so much fun though, right? Could you imagine we stop everyone at the go-to and stop? There's an emotion here. It's so fun.
So it sounds like you're saying that.
Oh, can you just...
So it sounds like you're saying that in entering the observer state, whatever emotion we observe becomes, we become much more spacious with it, and instead of operating from autopilot,
Right.
and in that spaciousness, liberation, like you said earlier.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beautifully put. Yeah.
It is. It feels like that's a skill though, for sure. Like
It's a skill.
especially the more intense the emotion,
Right.
the harder to be spacious, because
Right.
I think there's still some survival programming in there that it's like when it's kind of like akin to like if we were sitting here right now and then something just crashed through the skylight there,
Right.
and like we'd all like every ounce of attention on that thing.
Right.
So I feel like as that scales down to things that aren't quite that intense,
Right.
but still like in our mind, they demand like a certain amount of attention, and then to be spacious even in the midst of that.
Yes.
That's where the work is for me at this point, because
Beautiful.
it's easier to be spacious with like, oh, I'm bored, or
Right.
I'm tired,
Right.
but yeah, but spacious.
That space is it's a space of grace. There are some beloveds who can't rest with I'm bored, or so it's wonderful to notice, where we feel that we're at, and that, and how powerful that is. Yeah. So cool.
Yeah, and then to be spacious with like, oh, my early wounds of abandonment are triggered in this moment. And I
Right.
feel like I'm literally being abandoned.
Right.
Like, to be spacious with
And
that.
for a moment, notice. So feel into a time that you were in that, apparently caught up in that early wound. And for a moment, notice, was space also there?
Yeah, in the most recent time, yeah.
In the most recent time, yeah. And what about in the not most recent time? Feel into your most caught up in the wound. And notice if space was not also there. May not have felt like space, may not have been even mentally, personality wise, conscious of space or the option of space. But what I love about space and this sense of time is that it reverberates. It's all inclusive, and we can notice. It's like, so for example, when I started doing this work and feeling into, I would sit and I'd notice all those moments that I was completely, seemingly caught up in my fear, in my, my mind, in my horror, in my terror, in my argument with what is, in my hope for what needs to change, in my despair that nothing's going to change, in my helplessness. And then when I felt into how big this space was and how big this awareness was, it was like, oh shit, I've always been this awareness, always been aware and always been spacious, even at those certain moments. So then I got to imagine myself as my own guardian angel, going back to those situations and just holding myself, or just sitting there in the room, holding space, allowing for that child and that teenager to have their experience, um, and noticing total awareness is there, total space is there, even if we don't notice it. But it is powerful to give ourselves the gift of the gentle ordinariness of our days. Most of the times when we look back over our lives, the emphasis is on the highs and the lows. And we don't notice when we're just picking our nose, or when we're just tying our shoe, or all the times we just sat and just scratched ourselves. All the times we've been, I love how Byron Katie says, we're either sitting, lying, or standing. Everything else is a story. We're either sitting, lying, or standing. Yeah, sitting. Imagine looking back at your life and just seeing yourself sit, lie, stand, without the the superimposed story about what the past was or about what happened here. You just sit in line, stand, and sit in line, stand, and sit in line, stand, and sit in line, stand. It's so wondrous. It's so delightful, so sweet, so innocent. These soft animal bodies sit in line, stand, and sit in line, stand, and sit in line, stand. But what I was saying, that ordinary spaces, to start, in a sense, practicing with what's simple to meet, what's simple to sit with, and whatever is simple to you. If boredom is simple to sit with that and allow boredom to completely flourish, and watch it have a middle and an end, a beginning, middle, and an end. And then those bigger moments, it's kind of like you kind of gain a little muscle per se in recognizing that as an option, and it becomes more automatic. It's like, oh yeah, I can sit with this too. I can sit with this too. I can open to this too. I can allow, it's like you could even explore with what metaphors might be yummy to you. In my experience, all those different sensations, and still I would call them upgrades. Oh, upgrade. And then that there's this surrender, because in opening to it, when we resist the sensations and we want to change the sensations and we want to avoid the sensations and we want to replace the sensations, we're still caught up in the sense of someone protecting someone. We're innocently imagining separation consciousness to be something that's real. We're innocently imagining the movie to be here, and we don't notice the screen that's always present and always okay. And so in that space, oh shit, how fun. Where was I going with this? 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 I know it's right. What was it? What was it?
It was all that spaciousness.
All that spaciousness. Okay, yes. Thank you. That we build that muscle. Oh, and we discovered the beneficial qualities of what we have called negative, of what we have called overwhelming, of what we have called too much. You know, it's like we extract the nutrients of the what I call energetic kale of existence. Mm-hmm.
From the perspective of I don't know, like again, like language is so, you know, you have this language that's so wonderful for these things, but from the perspective of space, would you say that like really nothing's really ever wrong?
From the perspective of space, well, feel into it. Your space right now.
I mean, that's how I kind of feel about it.
Right.
Like there's a sense, I know I've had it before and I can sense it here and now just a little bit, the sense of it's such a vastness that everything is sort of self-perfectedly occurring, even the most what seems and appears to be confusion and even massive suffering has a sort of like sacred purpose for it. I mean, I know it sounds romantic. I mean, but
it's well, I love it. You're speaking from experience in this moment,
Yeah.
and feel into it again. So mine maybe came in with a romantic, thing.
I feel maybe I'm being cliche because I'm like
Well-
almost seeing things I've read before in spiritual books, and I'm like,
Right. Well,
you're not
that's what's so
repeating something, are you? Don't be that. But
Yeah, I saw this very same thing at Home Goods the other day. I mean, it's an amazing world we live in.
But what do you think the chance, given that, like, isn't there, like, because you're talking about practicing, and I'm always like, he's saying to
Yes.
do something, there's something to do.
Right.
Part of me is like, couldn't it, like, is it possible, at least for me, even though I get caught up, seemingly so, in all
Yeah.
my little stuff, which is so juicy, isn't it also possible that things are, that awareness and my ability to notice the screen of awareness as observing, you know, the space, isn't it possible that that process is just already occurring and that there's really nothing to do at all and that I can just notice?
So
Because
fun.
then I'm like, I don't know if I have work to do at all. Like, I mean, maybe I should be working. And then maybe I'm like, but maybe I'm just okay. Like, maybe it's all happening at the zoo, you know?
Hey.
Hey.
Well, I mean, that's what's so beautiful about this dream of locations, this dream of quote unquote levels of consciousness, right? And then also to get to the very root of it. Who am I? What is real? Who's actually here? Who would I be without my story? And in that space, there's nobody here. There's nothing ever to do, nothing ever to learn, nothing ever to discover. I mean, it's like full on ease of being, all outshining grace of existence, you know, full on Satchitananda just as the moment is. Pure, great emptiness, seeing bliss. Great emptiness, seeing bliss. Great emptiness, hearing bliss. Great emptiness, there's not even hearing, seeing, or inseparable. Inseparable.
It's not blissful, maybe I'm not there.
Well, this was what's so much fun too. It's so blissful that it's not bound to the sense of bliss or the idea of bliss or the flavor of bliss. It's like just as this moment is bliss, even if it doesn't feel like bliss. So it's like in the full on surrender, notice couch, floor. And I mean, it's like we just liberate ourselves when we don't have to liberate ourselves. But just from a way of speaking it, we live most of our lives in a dictionary, a dusty old dictionary. And then we just open the dictionary. And we're no longer experiencing the moment solely through the filter of the knowing mind. But there's also a wondrous, open, allowing, immeasurably precious perfection of all that is, even as we show up in support of the world and we notice a bus coming and we walk out of the way, or we notice something happening and we call the authorities, or or your headache's here and you take an aspirin. All inclusive. It doesn't mean that we're all of a sudden a vegetable. It's like we're in the symphony of the wild, untamed intelligence that is existence, the love that is. Who would you be in your life with a clear knowing that love can never be taken away, and that it never belonged to anyone, and that it never came from anyone? It's just what is. Nothing to, it's like, it's so sweet to discover these options. Again, in the practical applications of this discovery, the qualities of what we imagine someone cultivating are discovered to already be present. Kindness, present. Love, present. I see you, present. I hear you, present. And not in a contrived way. Totally uncontrived and natural, soft-bellied, ease of, what's up? So here, so welcome. Yeah.
I like to go once back. So what you also said, when these more fiery emotions hit our system, like you made the example, not boredom, but oh. And you said with allowing space, suddenly we can be informed from someplace else than from the past.
Yes.
So I wonder, when you said automatic pilot, in that moment, if we can train in moments like this, almost like a promise to ourselves to have a huger automatic pilot, or that the automatic pilot is connected to a bigger automatic pilot.
Well, let's say there's the plane pilot and the mothership pilot.
Yes. Or would that already go to replacing in Candice's system?
Well, I mean,
you know what I mean?
Right, I do know what you mean, and it could serve. This is what's so beautiful about the freedom of our individual sense of an individual journey, is that we can resonate with a number of things, and it's so perfect. We don't have to make any of it wrong. We resonate with this practice or that practice, or working with tuning forks, or working with our chakras, or doing theta healing, or to have a particular mantra, and do poses with our bodies, and move into yoga. It's so wondrous. What a buffet, what a bouquet of this moment, delighted with itself. So any of these metaphors can certainly serve. It's like they're all permission slips. Just a permission slip. Each thing a permission slip. A massage, a permission slip.
Let's just make you into let's like a golden effigy of ash and worship it.
Right, a permission slip. It's so hilarious. And so these permission slips have their place until the moment they don't. Again, like I think it was Nisargadatta who said, all necessary until it's not. And so it can be fun to play with those metaphors. I had so much fun playing with metaphors. I play with a metaphor of allowing everything to be free. So when I would have emotions, I always imagine myself in my apartment in Iquitos, Peru, back in 1996. After I had profound, beautiful ayahuasca moments and clear knowing about what's real and what's not, but yet still noticing the innocence of this allegiance to concepts and thoughts and ideas about a future and fears and then a phone call from my mother and then a phone call from my boyfriend who was now cheating on me with one of my best friends and this and that, all the life stuff that could happen. Yay, life's the life, the Sadguru, life, all the best teacher of all. And all these emotions. And so I was like, what to do? And so I started noticing that I was trying to herd them and trying to change them and trying to fix them, and that would only invite overlooking the ease that I knew to be real, ever more so. And so I would say, okay, in this moment, I'm going to just acknowledge that the freedom of all, because all is free. And so when thought would happen, I'd be like, oh, look how free you are. You better do your thing, thought. You better. Oh, the emotion, insecurity arising. And then to discover insecurity, not from the space of trying to solve insecurity or take insecurity away. It's kind of like we never see the beauty of what insecurity actually is. And in allowing insecurity to be totally free, like, go ahead. And then to discover how confident insecurity was. What a shock that insecurity never tapped me on the shoulder and said, excuse me, is it okay if I'm insecure right now? Is it okay? No, that bitch was like, here I am, insecurity. What you gonna do? Here I am, insecurity. Boom. Full-breasted, beloved, fierce. Not asking 1 ounce of permission to show up. Depression never said, excuse me, how about Tuesday at 4 o'clock? Would that work if I that? Here I am. And so it's like an opening to all the emotions, all the sensations, all the circumstances. It was like, oh my God, look how free you are. And then it was kind of like being at ecstatic dance. When you're at ecstatic dance, have y'all been at ecstatic dance before? Hey, ecstatic dance. So when you're at ecstatic dance, everybody got their something. Every people do their little thing, and some people are like, hey, and some people are like, and some people are just, and some people have the little micro things, and some people be popping and locking. Some people, it's like all the things, some people, and the dance floor is never one saying, nope, oh, you better stop. No, don't do it like that. So welcome. Everything's so free to have its dance. And it's the same with it's every emotion, every sensation, every thought, the dynamic energy of love. Doesn't seem that way to the mind, of course. But as we open and allow, we start discovering the true nature of circumstance, the true grace of thought, the true nature. It's like namaste isn't limited to beloveds. Namaste can be said to every single thing in existence. The awareness that is me, yeah. The light in me salutes and greets the light as you. The freedom and me sees the freedom in you. Oh, you're doing a really good job pretending to be something that's annoying. Oh, yeah. That's not right. That's not desirable. But, I see you for what you really are. Can't fool me. Can't fool me. Can't fool me. You're doing your best pretending to be something, but I see you. I see you. And I know who it is. You are free. Mind so free, it's gonna be free, whether mind likes it or not. And mind is free to not like it. Mind is free to not like it. But who you really are is aware, loving, intelligent, has never once had any concern about mind. Who you really are as the ocean, the bottomless ocean of this moment, sometimes called love, sometimes called grace, consciousness, infinity. Oh, who's got a problem with the ego? No, who's got a problem with the mind? Who's got a problem with emotions? Who's got a problem with feeling down? It's like saying the endless sky has a problem with each cloud. Who's got a problem with the thoughts? Oh, even if there's a million of them, you can push and fight till you realize that the only thing that's got beef with the mind is the mind. Who's got a problem with the ego? So we can notice when we're trying to change and alter these things. It's not presence that's doing it. It's the innocence of mind. Innocence of mind, innocence of mind, innocence of mind. And that's okay. That's mighty fine. That's mighty fine. That's mighty fine. Yeah. So yeah, little practices, metaphors, little tricks certainly have their place, and it's totally okay.
In my, I'm in the same major relationship for 37 years, so it's a long time with a long development in it. And I remember when emotions had the power to separate us for a day or two, or
Oh yeah.
and now it's really interesting. So it's almost like a little progress report to myself.
Yeah, I love that.
That most of the time it actually is no conflict. I don't even know how it would really come up.
What grace.
But once in a while there is a slip up, like you first sometimes said before. Sometimes we make slip into that. So this week, like now when I say I'm the one of the two who is fast or says something under the, can be attacking. And sometimes my partner just says, you know what? I actually don't want to be with you right now, or I don't enjoy that, and goes upstairs. That could have made me, even a few years ago, so mad, and doesn't confront, and then I tried to be, but I was right, wasn't I? All this stuff. And now it has only the quality, let's say, of a bad fart.
Yes.
No, you know what I mean?
I love that. The
It's
quality
still
of a
not-
bad
it's not
fart.
great
It's got a little
what happened.
smell
It's
to
not
it.
great, but for a moment, and so he says he doesn't like to be in that smell. And says, I go upstairs, and I might be a few moments a little bit befuddled, and then I smell it too, the fart, and then in about the same time as that would evaporate, also the consequences are not, they evaporate about as fast as that would. And that's actually a relief. That's actually a relief to have it that fast. If I half an hour later go and snuggle in bed, it's not. We don't have to talk about anything or process.
What a relief.
It's long gone.
I love that so much. Absolutely that. Yes. The
And-
quality of a bad fart. It's got a little stank to it. Yeah.
It was not elegant. It's nice or not to be in a room where but it's also not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world. Mine does do that. Absolutely.
Mine does get its own
Thankfully.
upgrades. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Amen.
For mine to continue evolving and growing and
Yes,
expanding and
yes.
yes.
We all have our areas that are so fun.
Isn't that
you know?
wonderful?
Yeah, I do.
It's so
Anyway.
wonderful. And then what's so great is that even as that's happening, we can always stop and notice the space where that never has to happen and how okay that is. How there's the moment still whole, well-being still here, even if mind never evolves, even if thoughts never get better, or even if strategies never get wiser, even if metaphors never get more clear and beautiful and effective. Wholeness, who you truly are, still here, still here. You know, I love how Gangaji says, who we are, not in the realm of needing to be learned, not in the realm of needing to be studied or practiced, or not in the space of manifestation or conjuring, already established, already here, our true nature as conscious, loving, aware intelligence, or as Ram Dass says, loving awareness. What I do with mind is I have a mantra that I use. I love it. Love me some Ram Dass, loving awareness. And I am loving awareness. Then there's I love it. Love you. So what I was saying with Gangaji is that never needs to be learned. And in the vigilance, there's a teaching that follows. There's a teaching that follows. And such permission for mind to continue evolving, for life to continue to show us, I love deeper and deeper, ever more obvious. Peace is here, may it be ever more obvious. Freedom here, may it be ever more obvious. Unbounded abundance here, may it be ever more obvious. Ease of being here, may it be ever more obvious. Harmony of all existence, nature, everything, may it be more and more obvious. Yes, beloved, finger.
You said vigilant, and there's a teaching that follows. And when I heard that, I was like, because what I thought was that the natural sort of thing would be that with this awareness, then there would be a natural instinct to desire to help others recognize space. Is that what you? But you don't think that's what you meant. But I mean, when a teaching arrives, like meaning, what do you mean?
What do I mean by that? Yay! So it's like in the all-inclusivity of this wholeness. Wholeness doesn't have a ceiling. Joy doesn't have a ceiling. Peace doesn't have a ceiling. And so then the relative teaching, in terms of, it's like all of a sudden we're awake to the possibility of another way. Oh well, and awake to other options.
So the appearance of a path starts to occur, where you make choices outside of or something like that.
To some degree, there's choice made. To some degrees, it's as a beloved teacher named Mira, quoting another teacher, said the other day, it's automatically.
And so automatically, this is the teaching.
Automatically spontaneous intelligence. Well, this is what's so beautiful as we discover ever deeper that this moment knows how to respond to itself.
So who would be the teacher and who would be the student?
Everything's a teacher, everything's a student, and there is no teacher and there is no student.
If I know I've taken the mic so many times.
Oh, it's all good.
Would you like to give it over? Because I have one more thing, but then I just feel kind of guilty.
It's wonderful to listen to the Sutra of Clay.
Yes, the Sutra of Clay.
No, yeah, this is kind of what my question's about, actually. I was going to say something about, like, I remember asking this of one of my teachers a long time ago. And it was sort of about, and he didn't answer. He refused. It was a Rinpoche, and he wouldn't answer. But I said something like, would you say that there's thisness has a directionality?
business as a directionality.
Does it have a direction? Like, is it like, does it want something? Does it desire something of us? You know, like, because we're these vessels. We are these little flesh nuggets, as you say, these little chicken nuggies. And my thing is like, because sometimes, I mean, and this could just be, you know, because what amazes me, you know, we not only do we live in these flesh nuggets, but we live in behind our own eyes. Like, we live from within this sort of clayness and this ashness and this, you know, we do get these names and all of that. And I guess the question is sort of about like, do you think it's possible that certain flesh nugget vessels are here to be super, super special? Like, like, you know, because sometimes I just feel like I'm special. Like, sometimes I really feel like I really am very special.
So special.
Like, I really feel sometimes that there are certain beings who are just so full of light. Like, they're just here to just, that love or thisness, it doesn't even matter. Someone said to me a long time ago, they said, you know, Clay, even if I think you're at the point, like, you came in, I know this sounds so narcissistic, but like,
I love it. It's so good.
Just forgive it. But like, they're like, you came into this life, whoever progress you'd made before this incarnation, they're like, you're so good that it's going to be okay for you. Like, you're just going to be the goodness.
Sweet.
And I kind of had that sense a little bit, like that there's some sort of inevitability that this little light of mine, you know? What do you think
what's
about
so beautiful,
that? Is that
you know,
weird to
that's
think?
part of the movie.
Is this my movie? I'm just in a movie.
Well, what's so
of my
sweet?
specialness.
Well, it's all a movie, right? But what's so sweet is that just becomes secondary.
Yeah, secondary.
Secondary. We notice if the movie serves. If it's stressful, question it.
Yeah.
If it's serving you, if you like that story and it's
do.
serving, how wonderful. How wonderful, good story. You know, we love it. There's nothing else here but story.
So it's not possible that this is a story then, that love would use a certain vessel in a certain way.
Yes.
This would just be a story.
Yes, because everything here, I mean, show me something that isn't love.
Well, there are very annoying people around. I know that their love I conceptually can appreciate that they may ultimately be love. But I don't I experience them as difficult people that I prefer to avoid.
Yes, and wise of you to avoid. So again, for beloveds watching, don't use the intellectual understanding of all is love and all is freedom to just put yourself in situations that don't serve or that may harm one's chicken nugget, one's flesh nugget. Common sense is also welcome in freedom. And
Kids who get murdered right now and the whole,
right,
butchering on the world that happens.
right.
How do you put that into the love category?
Right. So it definitely doesn't match up with our ideas of love and our story of love and our hope for love and for them to be hugged and fed and seen in all their beauty and all their worthy and all their humanity and all their preciousness. And, you know, it certainly doesn't mean that version of love, you know, but in the sense of this wild, untamed freedom. You know, this moment is free. Our lives are free. Our deaths are free. Our suffering is free. Our cozy is free. Our comfort is free. Our discomfort is free. Our trauma is free. Our suffering is free. Generational trauma is free. This moment is free. In that freedom, in that recognition, we also discover mind is free. And in discovering mind to be free, again, the practical applications is that there's a human being here that's not caught up in the stress of trying to fix what can never be fixed. That's not caught up in the war with oneself. And when war isn't happening here, it's just not something that arises, you know. And we're so available for blankets and for hugs and for not seeing anyone as separate or as a threat or as going to take our land or going to ruin this or ruin that. You know, it's like we're meeting life from the wholeness, and we show up as effective solutions. And yeah, I don't know if that helps with that question, but that's my experience. Right. So we can recognize that something isn't right while still honoring the freedom of the moment unfolding as it is. Mm-hmm. We can recognize and have heartbreak for the individual while still know the truth of everyone's existence and who everyone is and what everyone awakens to that is already awake to itself. Mm-hmm. You know, it can be valuable to be in the space of what I love about this recognition is our capacity to show up as benefit. Salud to all your beloveds and all your blessings and all those that you love and your ancestors and everybody, all them beloveds there, all your flesh nuggets. I love this, you know, that all of a sudden we get these skills and we recognize what's real. We can tell the difference between what's real and what's not. And we show up as powerful, available humans on the planet. That's why I love this. I love the dream of a powerful, available human, you know? Powerful, available human, where everything is used. Our intellect is used by the intellect of being. Our hands are used by the hands of God. Our heart is used by the heart of hearts of all the cosmos. Our words are used, our gifts and talents, the ones we're familiar with and the ones we don't even have a clue are available and just waiting to share their sweetness, their amrita with itself. This moment loves itself. You know, in my experience, gosh, what love, this chair that I know is not a chair. It's not limited to a chair. Just because we've called it a chair 1,000 times and every friggin' catalog in the universe has called it a chair, doesn't mean that it's absolutely true that it's a chair. There's God stuff with God stuff. Infinity stuff with infinity stuff. Universe with the universe. I am completely held by angels, love, the sacred, the divine. There's the poetry of existence. This outfit, this everything is this moment, this microphone, the technology, this moment with itself. This moment with itself. Mm-hmm. Just as from the perspective of being caught up in seeking and fear false evidence appearing real, mind only at war with mind. Mind concepts at war with concepts. Soft animal bodies caught in the crossfire. Soft animal body caught in the fire that innocently didn't know how to be addressed here. In all spiritual teachings, what I love about it is just that shift in moving from a space of not knowing how to meet our discomfort, so forever having trauma Tourette's and spewing out everywhere we go and every situation, same old, perpetuating war. What is war? An argument with what is. You know, what is war? An act of defense. What is war? And all of that comes from mind, believing this thought in separation to be true, believing this thought in resources to not be enough, believing in this thought. And so very fascinating, that shift of learning that we can meet the fire. When we meet the fire of our energy, of whatever's arising, the discomfort, the core wound, whatever the core wound might be, the shame, the fear, the anger, the learning that we have the capacity as space itself to give that hungry ghost. This is just an orphan. All those energies are orphans looking for a home, knocking on the inside of our skin, saying, can I be home here? And innocently, when we don't know, we meet it with another orphan. It's like, no, go somewhere else. But when we discover that the option that's also right where we are, right where we stand, to welcome the orphan. Oh, orphan, you have been not welcomed in many places, and many parts of who I imagine myself to be also have not welcomed you. And in this moment, you are completely welcome. I am a zone of peace. When we meet the fire here, then when we don't meet the fire here, discomfort gets displaced. Fire in the heart, fire in the body, fire in mind turns to fire in hands. Fire in hands turns to fire in arms. Fire in arms turns to fire in technologies of war. Technologies of war turns to fire in the child on the floor watching mommy gasping for air. And if that discomfort isn't loved and dealt with, perpetuated war, next generation of war. It's so innocent. We don't know who we are. It's so innocent. Mind doesn't know who it is. It's so innocent. We don't know that we have the capacity to stop and rest as in through the immediate benefit of what's real. Immediate benefit of floor, foot, body sitting, lying, or standing. You know?
So I have a recent experience I'd like to share with you.
Yeah, honored.
Can I talk about drugs for a second?
Absolutely.
Is that okay? All right.
Welcome to Casa Psychedelica.
So I was at this festival last weekend called Arcadia.
Okay.
Aubrey Marcus started it. It's fantastic. And on the last night, I took some MDMA, which I don't take very often anymore because I tend to have this thing happen where the first couple hours are really happy and fun. Yeah. And then it fades, and then the methamphetamine part of the molecule takes over, and I just get tweaked out for a while, and it's not fun at all. Yeah. So one night at this festival, that's what happened. Yeah. I don't know. I misestimated how much, and it just hit me really hard. And then 3 hours was great. And then it was a train wreck. Yeah. And I, at the time of it happening, it didn't make any sense. Like, why is this happening? Because it was so hellish. Right. And it took in the coming days realizing like all of the awareness that came from it. Yeah. But I've had this to lesser degrees in like mushroom trips like before, especially before I got better at navigating my own mind, but I had never experienced anything to this degree. It was just one continuous torrent of negative thoughts. Right. I couldn't interrupt it for more than 20 seconds for about 3 hours. Right. I just couldn't. And what was wild too is that I'm like on the dance floor, I'm doing breath work. Yeah. I'm like trying all these different things to get out of it, and I can't get out of it, and I'm just trapped in it, and it's just like unearthing every negative belief I've ever had about myself, and they're just coursing through me, and it's like eyes open, eyes closed, didn't matter, just kept coming. And the crazy part too is that I had a group with me of fantastic people who I could have pulled any one of them aside and said, hey, I'm really struggling right now, like I need to ground. Can we go outside? But I had this, what it revealed to me is like when I am truly, truly terrified,
Yeah.
and the highest level of activated, I don't trust other people to help me.
Yeah.
And so I just stayed trapped in it for hours until it finally
Yeah.
started to wear off. And yeah, I just, I guess what I've realized lately is that, because I brought this up to somebody where I was like, you know that thing where like you wake up in the morning and there's just like overnight there's just been like an accumulation of negative thoughts and stories. And sometimes people will like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'll be like, oh, not you too. Okay. And yeah, so it's like, this has been happening a lot over the last 6 months.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I don't know exactly where I'm going with this, but it's just, I call it thought life. I call it like the sort of the general overall movements of thoughts and how they accumulate and how they impact me energetically.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to see just the concentrate form of that with this sort of failed MDMA trip. And it really tuned me into like, oh, this is what I deal with on a regular basis. It's just so amplified right now. And, yeah, I don't know. It was just, I just wanted to share that and hear your thoughts. And it was just very humbling because like I've done a lot of meditation and IFS and all these different things, and nothing I could do I was just completely helpless. And so a lot of what you're saying tonight, it's like some of that I just couldn't access when I was in that state. So yeah.
Yes, that's definitely the first thing is hugs. Yeah. And as community and as fellow humans, yeah. What a moment. Sorry you experienced that. What a beautiful hug. What a snuggle fest. Yeah, sometimes it seems like we just can't access anything, and it's just pounded over and over again by the waves, by the force of mind, by the momentum of mind, the momentum of mind. And that's, one of the things that happens sometimes. It fucking sucks. It totally sucks. It friggin' sucks. No bueno, no bueno, no bueno. It's like, damn, this thing again, or damn, that was really heavy. Damn, that's so scary. And then it's like what grace, the humility piece, right? What grace, recognizing the fragility of mind. We're just like a couple of blood sugar points away from being totally nuts, totally insane. It's like the fragility of thought, the fragility of our soft animal bodies. It's like, wow, what a thing to be with and to recognize that's here and that can come up every now and again. And this experience of life, this wild and free life, And there are certain things that can be really valuable in exploring. It's kind of like once something like that happens, sometimes we develop a fear of that happening again, innocently so okay of course, pain is pain, fear, terror is terror, and when we feel we're ready, so it's like these little micro practices of learning how to be with allowing everything to be just as it is. So there's 3 ways that mind refuels its existence. The mind refuels, re-energizes itself. one of the ways is to indulge. So that's when mind starts, and then there's the indulging in the thoughts and the story. Stories about stories about stories, thoughts about thoughts about thoughts. So if a scary thought appears or a stream of scary thoughts appear, there may be a thought of, oh shit, that's scary, or oh shit, I've never had this before, or oh shit, this is new, or oh shit, is this how mine's going to be from now on? Is this a new thing? Or whatever the thought might be, it's like there's these thoughts about thoughts about thoughts. And then we imagine a future about what we need to do. Innocent. That's indulging. It's the itch. It just refuels the sense of a separate self having to do something, having to fix something. Another way that mind re-energizes itself is by the strategy of avoidance. I'm just going to avoid this. So something's here, a feeling's here, that's a discomfort's here. All these strategies have had their place in the evolution of our species. They're not wrong. Life is just inviting us to consider there's another option available to us because of the worlds and the institutions and the harm that has arisen out of the overemphasis, the overgrown weeds of that level of consciousness, right? So indulging, avoiding, where we reach for the sweets, or we reach for the Netflix, or we reach for the psychedelics, or we reach for even the spirituality, or we reach for whatever we can to just avoid this feeling. Like nope, not doing this today. No. Again, nothing wrong with that. Sometimes that's very appropriate to do that. It can certainly have its place. A moment of trauma, it's like, no. But when we feel safe enough and there's another option available to us that I'll get to in a second. The third thing that mind does that's very popular in our spiritual subculture is this strategy of replacing a positive with a negative, or a negative with a positive, whatever your kink is. Some people like replacing a positive with a negative. May not be your thing, but some people do. Always replacing. I'm going to replace my consciousness with a 4D consciousness. I'm going to replace this with that. I'm going to replace my body. I'm going to replace my food. I'm going to replace, innocent. Again, we just innocently has its place. It's had its place in the evolution of our species. May totally have its place if you're in an abusive situation. You just got to get the hell out of there. You don't got to stay and accept the crazy abuser. Let them have you leave. Bye. See ya. It's so appropriate, all of that. But when we feel safe enough to explore another option, we feel like mature enough. If there's been a dawning of recognition, that these strategies are no longer delivering the goods. Oh wow, indulging no longer delivers the goods. Oh wow, avoiding just doesn't cut it anymore. Oh wow, replacing, how many times am I it's just there's something I'm overlooking. And we feel safe enough, gently, little by little, start exploring this option of, as soon as something is here, to say welcome and to allow it. The smallest of somethings, the kernel, just a kernel of some things, or the whole cornfield of some things. Just in this moment doesn't mean in the next moment we don't go right back into indulging, right back into avoiding, or right back into replacing. But for a of a moment, of an instant, to be like, for right now, I'm just going to welcome. I'm just going to allow thought, or a stream of thoughts. One thing that's interesting with thought is that there's only one thought here that releases. Even if that one thought is a thought about a bunch of thoughts, it's still one thought. One thought. Let's say we have we imagine we have had to have a thought. We have had a thought many times. Oh, I'm so familiar with that thought. Boy, have I had that negative thought so many times. It's not true. This moment is completely free. It's just imagine that it's a thought about a thought many times. The mind will only ever find evidence of itself in itself. Mind will only ever find evidence of itself in itself. But in a moment of allowing, just like this moment, I love how much you already allow. It's like we allow to get familiar that our nature is allow. We allow as a someone to get familiar that, oh wow, I've only ever allowed. Allowing is my nature. But when we allow, we're not at war anymore. And we're not perpetuating the energies. When we allow, we may notice, oh wow, look how self-releasing that is. And what we also turn up the volume of in that allowing is this stability. It's like, oh wow, even though that seemed like a machine gun of thoughts, this moment is still whole. It's not tarnished by whatever has appeared on the screen. It's like that is a beginning, a middle, and an end. And so getting familiar with that aspect of us, allowing. And then another beautiful support with allowing in the imagination of time is discovering our capacity to be a bottomless presence of willingness. Willingness. It's like I know in my experience in those moments where it just felt completely unbearable and like I just wanted to just rip my skin off, or and the fear and the trauma and micro doses of allowing and moving from a fist to an open palm. It's so beautiful. Yeah, moving from fist consciousness to open palm consciousness. And then the thought may come up, but oh, what if it happens again in the future? And then we innocently birth the fist of resistance. Oh, I don't want that to happen again. Let me avoid that at all. No. Okay, so I'm not gonna go here anymore. I'm not gonna ride on planes anymore. I'm not gonna share my truth anymore. I'm not gonna do art anymore. I'm not gonna put myself out there anymore. I'm not gonna. All of a sudden, we're agoraphobic in our own skin, and it's like no resistance. So to feel into the willingness. Yes, love. You want to share something?
I was just thinking about, I've been in a lot of pain various times in my life, as we all have been.
Yeah.
And
what a gift.
Yeah. And I guess I just was noticing this idea of that sometimes mind has this beautiful thing that's figured out how to do, actually.
Uh-huh.
Especially within spirituality, my mind has a strategy, and I'm not saying it's the best one, but it's definitely one that I appreciate having.
Yeah.
That I was in a hellish experience, this slight short-term hell. I just got into a state of thought progressions that just felt in my body like I was guilty and ashamed,
Yeah.
And it was like a feeling as if a cloud had passed over my whole life. And
Yeah.
it wasn't even a thought. It was like this. But the strategy is to ask for help, almost to look up. It's like the strategy is to get on your knees and actually
Beautiful.
ask the mind.
Permission slip.
Because the mind, it's a kind of cute little thing,
Tell
for
us,
the
yeah.
mind to ask, what more could there be than me?
What more could there be than me? What a humble question.
And it actually can, it doesn't necessarily, it's not the thing itself, it's not openness itself, but it can be like a doorway.
So sweet. Yeah. The willingness for mind to ask, is there something greater than myself? Is there?
Yeah, like the
That's
pain
so
can kind of,
beautiful.
it can kind of like lead to that, this sort of
Right.
on your knees kind of moment.
Right. That's a moment of surrender.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a little key.
Yeah. It's so sweet. So powerful.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it really does.
Yeah.
And then suddenly,
And then sometimes
sometimes it doesn't.
it doesn't. That's
Sometimes
good to
it doesn't.
notice.
Yeah.
Like all strategies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when we start recognizing, that's when, all of a sudden you're at satsang, here with yourself, with this part of yourself that's at ease, is inviting the recognition, oh yeah, get familiar with this wholeness and explore your capacity to welcome everything and watch all that is welcomed do what it does.
Me wanna sing, 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 sing. You make me wanna love, 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 love. You make me wanna ah, 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 ah.
Thank you. Thank you for this satsang. May the peace that is be ever more obvious. May the love that is be ever more obvious for every beloved on the planet. May the freedom that is be ever more obvious to every beloved on the planet. May that which is already obvious to every beloved on the planet be ever more obvious to everyone on the planet. I'm so grateful for each of you. Thank you so much. 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 It's really sweet that the world has your heart to exist in. The world has your love to exist in. The world has your awareness, your light to exist in. If you'd like to explore more ways to be connected or to work together, You can go to my website, www.ashruiz.com. And there's some retreats coming up. One that I'm really excited about called Alohahuasca 2024 in July in Hilo, which is going to be really, really sweet. The most beautiful property, beautiful medicine, beautiful beloveds. And yeah, that's one that's coming to mind right now. But I thank you all so much. Thank you. Blessings.